Last time, Napoleon crowned himself emperor, but how did he get there? How did he stay there? It wasn't luck and it wasn't magic, it was strategy. The kind most people never saw, from Egypt to Austerlitz, from corps maneuvering to battlefield deception. This is the episode that reveals how Napoleon engineered victory before the battle ever began. Welcome to Phoenix History's cinematic storytelling with battlefield brilliance and lessons carved in fire. So like, subscribe, and be sure to turn on all notifications because now you'll see how legends actually think. In 1798, as French soldiers advanced through the burning sands of Egypt, strange orders were whispered through the ranks. Form squares, fix bayonets, hold. To a passing observer, it might have looked like panic, a desperate defense against Mamluk cavalry. But to Napoleon, it was a trap. Within those hollow squares stood the future of modern warfare, and behind the silence of his command was a library. In his tent beneath the desert stars, Napoleon read from the commentaries of the Gallic War and the histories of Alexander. It wasn't just the soldiers who were marching, it was the ghosts of Caesar and Alexander guiding his hand. But that moment was only a ripple in a much deeper current. This is the story of Napoleon's secret military genius. Not the cannon fire, but the quiet thinking that always came before it. At Toulon in 1793, he was still unknown, just a young artillery officer from Corsica. His men lacked supplies, there was no formal arsenal, and the French were losing. He didn't have rank, but he had rationale and geometry. He reorganized the artillery positions and personally supervised the collection of cannons from nearby villages. He identified the British fleet's only viable escape route and focused fire on the forts that protected it. When the key positions fell, the British evacuated, the siege was over. His reward? A promotion to Brigadier General at age 24. But the lesson wasn't about the rank, it was about leverage, finding the key terrain, concentrated force, break the enemy from the route. Before setting sail for Egypt in 1798, Napoleon requested a different kind of war chest. Among them, Caesar's Gallic Wars, Plutarch's Lives, and the histories of Alexander. He wasn't just chasing glory, he was following a map written by conquerors before him. Upon reaching the pyramids, he gave his men a line that would echo through history. Soldiers, from the heights of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon you. Then came the Battle of the Pyramids. Facing 6,000 charging Mamluks on horseback, Napoleon didn't flinch. Instead, he formed his men into massive infantry squares, each side bristling with bayonets. The Mamluks slammed against them like waves and broke. He hadn't improvised that tactic, he had studied it. Just like he had studied Caesar, Alexander, and every commander who dared to cross a desert in search of destiny. December 2nd, 1805, Austerlitz. Napoleon faced the combined might of Russia and Austria. Over 90,000 troops to his 68,000. The fog hung low. His army looked exposed. It wasn't. The Allied forces took the bait, charging into the weak forces Napoleon had deliberately offered. But as they descended, he counterattacked through the center, splitting their army in two. He would later say, never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. It wasn't just brilliance. This battle was patience, a lesson he had to read and reread and now lived. Then came Russia. His critics said that it was crazy, that he had lost his mind trying to conquer such a vast frozen land. But Napoleon had a plan. He didn't march in one column like the old generals, he split his forces into multiple corps, all heading for the same direction, allowing for the flexibility and speed, an unheard of tactic at the time. As he entered Moscow in September 1812, fire erupted across the city. He awoke to flames licking the sky. "What a tremendous spectacle," he cried. "What men! They are indeed Scythians." The Russians had burned their own city. Napoleon made his statement now. Napoleon would stay, and each night he left a candle burning in his bedroom window, a signal to the troops that their emperor was still working, even when he slept. Everyone remembers Napoleon the tactician, the man who won on the battlefield, but his greatest weapon was his mind. He fused ancient wisdom with modern firepower. He understood not just terrain, but psychology. At every turn, he built strategies not to win the next hour, but to make the empire. He read the ancients not to admire them, but to join them. "My model," he once said, "was always Alexander." So, Napoleon didn't carry secrets in his pocket, he carried them in his library. And when the cannons fired, it was never by accident, it was history aiming through him.
"Soldiers of the 5th Regiment, do you recognize me?"
"Yes, Emperor!"
"I miss you. I'm melancholy for my home and for our victories together. Will you join me?"
Long live the Emperor!
His enemies saw him as reckless, but every move was mapped, every call placed like a chess piece. Next time, we'll see the crown jewel of his brilliance, when two empires charge for him and Napoleon faces them both, standing alone. So be sure to subscribe because my young phoenix, Austerlitz, is coming.